All right, so today I'm going to talk Alabama football and why I think they're going to be fine with the new head coach, Kalen DeBoer. So, here in Tuscaloosa, there was widespread panic when Nick Saban announced several weeks ago that he was retiring. I mean, time stood still here in T-Town for several days. People were in just complete and total shock, just processing what happened and their emotions related to it. And in rival college towns and other college towns across this great nation that house D1 Power 5 football programs, everybody rejoiced. Everybody was celebrating because they felt like they could breathe once again. They felt like it was the downfall of a perennial powerhouse because its leader at the helm had stepped down. And for once, they felt like they had an opportunity. And they still do, and they still do every year. However, I want to talk about how Alabama's not necessarily going to collapse in the way that everybody that's not a fan or a student or a resident of Tuscaloosa would hope. So, when it all first began, I myself included, I thought there was going to be a max exodus of Alabama players that enter the transfer portal and leave. And yes, there were a lot of them that left. And the team does not look the same as it did about a month ago from a roster standpoint. It doesn't. There were a lot of guys that were lost. However, there were a lot of guys that stayed here in Tuscaloosa. Most importantly, Alabama was able to secure five-star wide receiver Ryan Williams. They were able to lure him back after he decommitted. Alabama was able to lure him back, and that right there, I firmly believe, set the tone for Alabama football going into this year and in years to come. When you're a program like Alabama, just because of how successful it is, everybody prays on its downfall. And not because you necessarily hate Alabama. Yes, if you're a Tennessee fan, absolutely. If you're an LSU fan, if you're an Auburn fan, absolutely. But if you're an Oregon fan, if you're an Oklahoma fan, if you're an Ohio State fan, Michigan fan, you don't really have any personal beef with Alabama, so to speak. But you hope that they'll decline just because they've blocked you from opportunities in the past. So those teams were hoping that Alabama would slip up here. But it seems as if the tide is just simply reloading. Kalen DeBoer has also been able to pull some strings and get some former Washington players to transfer to Alabama. Wide receiver Jeremy Bernards, offensive lineman Parker Brailsford, who was phenomenal last year, and quarterback Austin Mack. I don't know how that situation is going to shake out, but it'll be interesting as Jalen Milroe is the presumed starter, but you also have Ty Simpson and Austin Mack sitting in that quarterback room. So I don't know if there'll be a three-quarterback competition this year as there had been in past years, but it's just going to be interesting to see how that unfolds, see who's going to fit systematically with the scheme that Kalen DeBoer desires for this team, what he wants the identity of his offense to be. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I want to talk, yes, there were players that Alabama lost. You know, Isaiah Bonds, Caleb Downs, Julian Sayin, and it sent shockwaves throughout the campus here at UA. Everybody felt it. They were dark days. There was like the students who were waking up every day, flipping their phone over and seeing that another player transferred. Caden Proctor, another one. But I like to be an optimist in situations like this. And I like to think, hey, they may be leaving, but who's staying? Jalen Milroe, who has experience playing at the highest level, is staying. Malachi Moore, very, very experienced and seasoned player, staying. Tim Smith, Kendrick Law, Justice Haynes, the list, Jaheim Otis, the list goes on and on and on and on. there's some amazing players that are staying at Alabama, and it shows that they're committed to the culture at UA, that they truly love the school that they're staying, because even after Nick Saban leaves, and that was a big pull for a lot of players to come here, but they still love playing for that team so much that they are staying, and that's a testament to Alabama's culture, what has been forged in these past couple of years. But to transition and continue to talk about culture, I want to bring up Kalen DeBoer, because he has been very intentional with his vision and his mission at UA, what he wants his team to look like. And it's admirable because in a lot of ways, it's the way that Nick Saban has taken over teams. He's not conforming to the way things were. Yes, he's retaining elements of how it was, because what was there is working. So of course he's going to observe and keep what's going to be effective with his culture. But he's also making it his program as well. There's already been a lot of staff turnover. He's taking the program over with intention. He's infusing his values into it, taking his approach. And that's how Nick Saban and other successful college football coaches have taken over programs. They make it theirs. You don't make your program what it was under somebody else. You make it your own. And that's what Nick Saban would desire. You make it your own. You be your own leader. You are now the face of Alabama football. Kalen DeBoer understands that. And he has taken that approach. That's what Nick Saban did. And Nick Saban talks about this in his book. It's what he did at Toledo. When he took over, he made it his culture. He made it his own. That's why he experienced instant success. That's what Kalen DeBoer did at Washington. He experienced success pretty quickly, and he's doing it here at Alabama as well. He's being intentional about what he wants this team and its culture to look like, what he wants it to be. He's intentional about it. And I think you're going to see this Alabama team have traction very quickly because of that. And to build off of that, I want to make a comparison. You know, I grew up a Yankee fan. I was in upstate New York. My father's a huge Yankee fan and introduced it to me at a young age. And I remember back in, let's say it was 2015. In 2014, Derek Jeter retired, and he was replaced by shortstop Didi Gregorius. And the Yankees faithful, the bleacher creatures, if you know, you know, had this expectation that Didi's going to fill them shoes immediately. You know, you were filling the captain's shoes. Derek Jeter played that position for years. He was beloved in the Bronx. Didi was stepping into big shoes. And Didi struggled initially, and fans were turning on him very quickly. But after a while, he started to get confident. He started to gain traction. He started to become his own player. I'm just asking Alabama fans here, give DeBoer space. He may struggle initially. Give him space to gain traction. And I think you're going to see that. He's going to become his own coach. He already is. He already established himself at Washington. But he's going to become a version of himself at Alabama. And you just have to let that naturally happen. It's going to be fascinating. It's going to be fascinating to see what unfolds down the line. And yes, right now there are teams that have a competitive advantage on Alabama, like Texas, Georgia, Ohio State from a roster standpoint, yes. But Alabama is not going to drop off as far as a lot of people would have desired. They've retained a lot of talents. They're going to continue to have amazing culture. So they're going to continue to be a threat down the line. Yes, compared to being in the Rose Bowl, maybe a step back this year. They may not make the Final Four this year. But I can picture a scenario where they do make the Final 12, where they do make the college football playoff this year. I can see that. They're going to still be relevant. There's not going to be a complete drop-off. They're not going to lose their identity. They're still going to be competitive. Will they be championship contenders? That remains to be seen. But Alabama, in the mix of it all, they're not going anywhere. And that's just something that's anybody who's not an Alabama fan or who was hoping that the program would slip up is going to have to cope with, because they're going to be here. Have a great day. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you and the time that you took out of your day to watch the video. And if you enjoyed it, please be sure to like the video and share it, as well as subscribe to The Era. The more likes and subscribers I get on this channel, the more resources I can attain, and the more resources I can attain, the more value I can provide to you, the viewer. And that is how I show my appreciation for you for the time that you devote to watching my videos. So thank you so much, and have a great day.